Subscribe to my YouTube channel and click the bell icon for the latest film interviews, features, and recommendations on the movies that matter.
Folks, welcome. It's first of all, I have to say it's amazing to see this kind of talented room. You know, there's just way too many talented people in one room. So thank you, welcome. We're of course gathered here to talk about the new show that you've made. This is a show called Avrodh, The Siege Within. And by the time that this interview goes out, all 9 episodes of the show will be streaming on Sony Live. So first of all, congratulations to all of you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for bringing us, doing this with us. It means a lot to us. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, for those who are watching this interview but may not have watched the trailer of the show, I want to say that this is a show about the events leading up to the surgical strike conducted by the Indian Army in response to the Uri attacks of September 2016. Now, I remember when I first heard about this show, my reaction was, but we know this story. We've watched the film. I want to ask you, did any of you have that reaction when the show was first offered to you?
So when I read the script, I'm sorry, I'm just taking this first. The script kind of showed enough light for me to not kind of go in that direction. And now that you said you've seen it, so you know that there's much, we'll discuss that in, I'm sure in the interim of the chat today. But the show, the series is much more, than a set of special forces and armed forces men going and taking the revenge. And for me, when I read this instantly, I just knew that this is a political drama, and I was very fascinated to be I loved my part. I was so excited I get to play Mike Tango. Yeah. But what I was more happy about is that I said, wow, this is a story which is more inclusive, which shows more aspects which we don't even know about. And I'm so glad, I'm thankful actually to you that you bring this out so that, because your interviews have your words and your interviews have a very, very far reach. And that will also kind of help people to understand what it is. So that'll give them a right perspective before entering this experience called Avrodh.
Okay.
I had a very slightly a different experience. When I was called by Raj, the director of the series, I got a call from him saying, "Come, I'd like to narrate a script. I'm directing a project." I had met Raj many years ago because he was the first AD on a couple of my film projects. So I'd known him earlier, and now he was directing for the first time. What struck me was in the same question I asked him, Raj, but we've already done this before. We've seen it, and it happened very recently. Even the incident happened in 2016. And the film came out 2 years later, 3 years later. So why are we again harping on the same thing? And that's where he said, you read the script and you let me know. Yeah. And the script, like Amit says, has had all the details. Yeah. And it is a political drama. And there are far more details and authentic incidents than what one has seen in the film.
Right. Madhurima?
For me, honestly, it did come to my mind that, yes, it's already been out. The film is out. Why are we doing this again? But then I thought to myself that as an audience, do I want to see this again? I said yes. I want to see a detailed journey of what had happened in the strike during the period of time. So that's why I thought it's the right time, though the film is out, but the series has to come out because it's a detailed, I mean, as Amit said, as Neeraj sir has said, that it's a detailed journey of the political drama. So that is why I
Rajeev, I know what Madhurima said. Madhurima said yes.
I'm just fumbling right now. I'm so nervous, honestly. I'm so nervous to be here. Honestly, I'm so thrilled and nervous to be here. Yeah.
Madhurima, you must have said, yes, I want to see myself in this.
I definitely, yes. Yeah, obviously.
You are amazing.
Yes.
You know my feelings about your work and your character. She's amazing in
I'm just so nervous right now, honestly. I'm just fumbling. I don't know what to say. So,
Namrita, don't be nervous. It's too late now to be nervous.
Darshan, what was your response, Darshan, when it came to you?
Actually, Samar Khan and showrunner and Raj Acharya sir, they called me up and they said we are making a film on Uri. And actually, since my बचपन से मुझे था कि मुझे फौज में जाना है. And I filled a form for NDA also. It didn't work out. So I was so excited about this particular about my role. I was like, yeah, I'm getting a chance to play Major Ronak Gautam. And it's a real story. What else I want? So I did not think much about that, and I was excited, and I said, yes, I'm doing it.
Right. You know, it's true, because now, having watched all 9 episodes of the show, I think it's fair to say that what it does is it sort of takes a deep dive. It takes a deep dive into the events leading up to the surgical strike. So, of course, it's about the role of the Indian Army in that operation, but it's also about what's happening in the corridors of power in Delhi. It's also about, it's also about the role of the media. It's also about the situation in Kashmir. So it actually is, it does actually cover a much broader kind of canvas.
It also, I think, I'm sorry, I just wanted to add one more thing, Rajeev, to what you said. Also, I think it's very educative and informative that, like you can't just pick up a AK-47 and go at war.
Correct.
And also when you're not in the war zone, when you're not at war with the enemy, but you still have to do a mission,
correct,
to eliminate terrorists, which are kind of protected by the enemy country. What's the protocol?
Right.
And that's where special forces enter. I mean, special forces are created by every, every country. And that's something which I just wanted to add to.
Amit, you play Major Mike Tango, who is, of course, the Special Forces officer who's leading this mission, this covert mission. Tell me, what spoke to you about this character? What made you go, this would be an interesting guy to play?
First of all, my upbringing has been literally like a soldier. My environment of my life has been military. Even like coming to Bombay, and so many years I've struggled to survive because, my education, my upbringing is very, very military. And for me, the exciting part was, again, that if we are getting to document that incident in such details and bring it, bring this form of narrative to people. One, second, to be a part of such an amazing ensemble. So I knew that this could be more special with all these actors bringing themselves and, creating these real life heroes. And mostly, if you ask me, I've seen the army like very close, and to become special forces. So special forces, they are groomed differently. Their physical, mental training is different than the army. So the army, in army, any officer, the next immediate officer is God. Special forces are like demigods in themselves.
Right.
And I spent, I can't name, but I've spent some time with a Mike Tango of Special Forces Scorpions. And I hope I don't get reprimanded for saying this.
Giving away the details,
But I want to thank them. And then just those nuances, how they react, their coldness, their sternness.
You're right. It's actually, he's actually very, very, straight-faced. I mean, you don't see any emotion.
There's no valor. Like in them, they don't show, there's no pride. Like, maine desh ke liye 100 log mare, but they're groomed like that. They because they've gone through so many emotions. And there are few lines, if you see, there's a line when I tell, when Major Darshan comes, and I said, what, there's a difference between you and us. We are just training our lives, and we get so little action, and that says a lot about special. So for me, becoming special forces and to be able to bring those things, I'm excited now. I just hope people see, like they can see, okay, yes, special forces, because when you see Darshan's character, you see he's an army officer.
That's right.
He's emotional. He's
and you see the family life, you see beyond. Darshan, you're of course playing a major in the Bihar regiment who has faced personal loss in the attack on that Uri base camp. I don't want to give away details, but there is a personal loss. And who asks if he can join the mission that the special forces are going to undertake. Again, what was it? I know you said that it was the childhood dream. Did this on some level feel like, that wish fulfillment, the thing that one always wanted to do, wearing army fatigue, wearing the, the soldier's uniform? Was it wish fulfillment on one level?
Yeah, always. Because I still remember when Samar sir and Rajacharya sir narrated the story. And after that, there was lots of training involved in this, particularly this role. And I know I used to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, because 4 o'clock हमारा sharp start होता था जितनी भी training थी, boot camp, and usme crawling, jumping, walking like a soldiers, how to handle guns and everything. Yeah. So it was really tough. But I remember when first time I wore the uniform, I felt a sense of pride, the sense of, you feel a sense of responsibility on your shoulders. So that changed everything. And that time I got to know, now I got it, Major Ronak Gautam. So I think it's an honor to play a Major Ronak Gautam and wearing that uniform. Yeah. So nothing like that.
Sure. Neeraj, you play the National Security Advisor. In many ways, he is the brain behind this operation. He is the Prime Minister's blue-eyed boy. He has the Prime Minister's ear. What made him an interesting character to play for you? What sort of appealed to you about the man?
The fact
and we know who he's modeled after. I mean, it's not named, but it's quite clear. We know who he's modeled after. What made this interesting for you?
On the contrary, Rajeev, I tried my best not to model him on the NSA at that time.
Okay.
My entire because then it would be almost like a biopic, and therefore the methodology to create that would have been very, very different. So I consciously took a creative call, saying that I don't think I will model my work on any one person. Let me model my work on the position of the National Security Advisor. A position of responsibility, great burden, very sensitive, a position that requires immense patience, immense intelligence, a position that requires odd hours of work, everything put together, and huge amount of experience in the research and analysis wing, in the intelligence bureau, everything. For me, that was the trigger point. That's where I felt, let me take this path and build this character. So I had to actually go and research almost the previous 3 or 4 NSAs who were there, read up on them, listen to their speeches, understand what was their psyche. Why did they think what they thought? Why did they say what they said? So it comes from a background somewhere. And some of them, even I got a chance to read something about their childhood. So you get to understand where it's all coming from. And where do they get that strength and that sensibility to advise? It's not easy to advise on national security. You're talking of lives. You're talking of human civilian lives. It's not just your armed force lives. It's everything. And any wrong call and you lose lives. That's all. I mean, you don't lose money, you lose lives. And that's what he says at the end, that war is expensive. It's at a cost, but the cost of human life is far more. Yeah. So this was the preparation for that. Yeah.
One of my favorite lines from the series.
Madhurima, you play a broadcast news journalist. She's very persistent. She has her heart in the right place, but perhaps she's a little bit reckless. What got you interested in her? What appealed to you? What made you go, this is a character I'd like to sink my teeth into?
I think it's just not about the Indian Army. The media also plays a very important role in this show. Like how it's multi-layered. The character is very multi-layered. And Neeraj said a very good thing, that she's one of them. She's one of the political authority or maybe Indian. She's one in a danger zone. She's one who's there in the danger zone. Who's there? One wrong information out, her life could be at risk. Her job could be at risk. There's so many things. So she has to realize the sensitivity of the situation. And she has a personal life also in it, where she knows that he's also into NSA. He's working in NSA. And was it coincidental, or was it her decision to be there with him? She really loves that person or not? So
actually, that's an interesting point, because I kept thinking about that. Because she's ambitious, you keep wondering whether this is they happen to be together, or like you said. But again, we don't want to give away too much.
Yeah, exactly. So so that's what actually. That's why I wanted to be a part of this wonderful show. And as it is, it's a tribute to our Indian Army. I didn't want to say no, because obviously being a part of such a wonderful project, such an amazing cast, I just couldn't say no, and I had to be a part. And luckily, what happened was throughout the journey, my character became better and better. Honestly, earlier she was not about to be the narrator in the end, but then they changed it to that, and it happened like that. So
she actually has a very interesting arc. That's right.
Yeah. So
Darshan, you said you went through boot camp to get the physicality and the body language of the army man. Amit, we've seen those transformation videos, and those are pretty intense. To become this special forces officer. To both of you, I want to ask, how much does physical transformation help? Getting into a character, when you have that, when you know that there's a body language that's required, how that man walks into a room, when all of those are the, for lack of a better word, crutches, to help build a character, does that help in sort of understanding the character, and does that become a sort of entry point?
Amit?
Darshan?
Amit, you start.
After you, guys. Okay.
Yes.
Of course. Arey sir, we want you to speak. We learn something. हम लोग तो बोलेंगे तो बकवास निकलेगा. So much to learn from you, sir. I'll give you an example for everything you said, because everything you said is a yes.
Right.
And I think the better word is crutches, because you're crippled. Your character is crippled without those crutches. But again, everybody has their own method and understanding and creating, and it was so insightful to hear Neeraj sir.
Yeah.
It's just a treat to speak to him or hear him talk about characterization and his thought process and where he comes from. For me, I'm a huge fan of Russell Crowe, and you've seen him in Insider's Man, in Beautiful Mind. No, then Gladiator. After Gladiator, Insider's Mind. Beautiful Mind. After Beautiful Mind was Cinderella Man. After that was Body of Lies. So I've studied him. I have a poster of him also. I sleep with him. But I read an article of his many years back when I was at Strasbourg studying acting. That he said, when a character comes to me, the first thing I look for is the physicality. How I will say it, how I will. And at that time, I had not done Kai Poche. And I was learning method acting at Strasbourg. So it was a new world for me, Before that, I was just like, meri kitne line hai aur kitna bolna hai. I had not kind of got the understanding. Tab tak samajh nahi aayi thi. So that's where I started, and I said, Russell Crowe to my favorite hai, wo aisa bol raha hai, to mujhe bhi aisa karna chahiye. So for me, it started not in the intellectual way. It started as a copycat. Okay. And then one of my acting coaches I've worked with a lot of acting coaches. I think that also is a very important crutch. At least for me. Robert Elliman, he's a very, very, he's not with Strasbourg anymore, but he's like one of the best acting coaches ever. And he told me the same thing. He said, you get the physicality right of a character, you'll start breathing like him.
Right. Darshan, do you have a different take on this?
No, I'm agree with your point, and Amit also, because I remember when I joined theatre in Delhi, first time, I joined Act 1 group, Mr. N.K. Sharma's group. And I remember our timing was like 2 to 9 every day. 7 hours we used to do our rehearsals. So from 2 o'clock to 6 o'clock, 4 hours, वो हमें सिर्फ ट्रेनिंग कराते थे फिजिकल, पूरी जैसे एक आर्मी की ट्रेनिंग होती है. मैं नया था, मुझे कुछ समझ नहीं आता था सर कि मैं एक्टिंग सीखने आया हूँ कि यहाँ पर मैं फौजी बनने आया हूँ या मैं मार्शल आर्ट सीखने आया हूँ यहाँ पर. तो मैंने एक दिन उनसे पूछा कि ये इसका रीजन क्या है. तो उन्होंने कहा कि एक्टर को हमेशा फिजिकली फिट होना चाहिए. पहले चीज, माइंड बहुत शार्प होता है. दूसरी चीज, आप अपने आप को, अगर आप फिट हैं तो अगर आपको किसी कैरेक्टर के लिए वेट बढ़ाना है, बहुत इजीली बढ़ा सकते हो, और कम करना है तो कम कर सकते हो, क्योंकि आप पहले प्रेजेंट होते हो, आप ऑडियंस के सामने आते हो, तो वो आपके फिजिकल वॉक, आपकी मैनरिज्म से पहचानते हैं कि आप क्या रोल, किस तरह का कैरेक्टर प्ले कर रहे हो, और उसके बाद वो आपके वर्ड सुनते हैं. सो वो कहते हैं कि जब आप, जैसे अमित ने कहा कि आप उनकी तरह, जब आप एक बॉडी लैंग्वेज मिल जाती है तो आप उसकी तरह बिहेव करना, ब्रीथ, उसको कैरेक्टर को फील करना शुरू करते हैं. तो इसी जैसे कि मैं अभी अवरोध के लिए ही सर, मुझे बोला गया था कि अगर आप चटाई पे सोएंगे तो आपको बहुत फायदा होगा. तो मैं ऑलमोस्ट 5 महीने, जब तक शूट खत्म नहीं हुई, बूट कैंप से लेकर, मैं चटाई पे सोया सर, और मुझे बहुत फायदा हुआ उससे. जो वॉक और जो मैनरिज्म जो आया, और मुझे जब वो वर्दी पहनते ही एक अलग फीलिंग आई. तो आई थिंक ये बहुत, इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू चेंज योरसेल्फ. Yeah.
And there's one more line I want to share, since you're on the same topic, and this is my favorite topic. It's like, don't talk your character. walk your character.
Walk your character. True.
True. But Neeraj and Madhurima, when you're playing characters that don't have that obvious a transformation, in the way that say Amit and Darshan have, where that's not the key to getting into the character. Are there little invisible things that you're doing? And I say invisible because it may not be it may not be visible immediately to the viewer, but are there little things you're doing? I mean, is there a physicality that you're also working on that may not be immediately apparent?
Yes, sir.
Madhurima?
Sir, please, I think you should start first.
So,
I would
Rajeev,
learn from you and then I can say something.
Actually, can I have a suggestion, Rajeev? Can you ask all these technical, tricky, difficult questions to Neeraj sir, and then we'll say ditto.
Neeraj sir.
इतना सोचना पड़ रहा है यार.
No, but you're expressing yourselves beautifully.
So,
you're nice. You're very kind.
so
Thank you.
I always feel sometimes, because most of the characters I've done earlier have been based on physical transformation. So I have a regime and I follow that regime, and then the body begins to transform. And then I get into my character, and that regime includes yoga asanas, it includes a bit of Kalaripaya too, which is martial arts. It also has elements of chow dance, Kathakali, everything put together. So it's a permutation, combination of many things. For this character especially, I did not go that way purposely, just to see what can I therefore do. And one important thing that I did was I caught onto two words, like two pillars of my character. That's what my character was. It had a sense of responsibility and a sense of burden. So these two became my pillars. And the moment I began to work on them psychologically and emotionally, automatically my body began to become heavy. I could feel the sense of heaviness because of the psychological transformation I was going through in my brain. And I felt that helped immensely. So there are certain parts of the series where the heaviness can be felt and seen. That's what the whole attempt was. Not to physically hunch my back or not to physically, look very burdened, but psychologically work and allow that to shift into the body and pressurize the body. The actor has got 5 things in the entire instrument. One is called the mind, the breath, the face, the body, and the voice. You change any one of these, all else will change.
Right.
So when you have your mind, it will affect the breath, that will affect your face, that in turn will affect your body, and then finally your voice. You change any one of them, all 4 get affected. So which is why you can take anyone and work. You can just take the breath of the character and work. When Amit spoke about breath, it excited me. I wanted to add in because it's so exciting.
I saw
The moment you start to work on the psyche or the physicality, the first thing that shifts is your breathing. And that breath will allow your voice to come out in a particular way. You don't have to do anything. It'll come in the automatic mode. So even when Shailesh Malviya is speaking, my character, it's a very slow rhythm that has come into the series and the characterization, which is unlike the way I would speak in Ship of Theseus or Patal Lo. He's very aggressive, but yet he's very patient because of his burden, because of the responsibility. Every word he speaks is like a bullet. If he aims it wrong, it will kill.
Yeah. But
So
you're
that's
right,
what
because
the
you
whole
see it in
thing
there is a weariness. There is a weariness to the character, which is very evident.
Yes. So
Rajeev
that's
sir,
what-
can I change my answer? Please, I want to change my answer. Ditto.
Go for it.
Ditto, I know. Ditto.
Madhurima, for you, what was there a physical thing that you brought to this character?
No, honestly, as Neeraj sir said, it's in your mind actually. I mean, if you understand the character, what you are there for, what you want from the scene. I mean, you are there you're there for the truth. You are there to understand the psychology of the authorities, what they want. You're just digging up the truth. So if you are there consistently, automatically the mannerism comes, automatically your behavior changes. And when you're talking to your senior authorities, it automatically just comes when you have that in your mind. The subtext is there that, okay, you have to not cross the line also as a journalist, because sometimes you cross a line, you have to be respectful with the people. It's so automatically all the gestures come.
Right.
So yeah, I think I would say just ditto.
Okay. What was it like shooting this show? I mean, this is a handsomely mounted show. I mean, it's the scale of it is massive. I mean, I don't want to give away too much. It's only going to
But
come
I'm so
out,
happy you're saying that. I'm so thrilled.
It is,
I'm really happy you're saying that.
Kashmir. I mean, you see the scale of, there is scale. It's also very thrillingly told. I mean, it's sort of edge of the seat. Of course, the operation itself is edge of the seat. I want to ask you all what it was, and also because it's a big cast. I mean, 4 of you are here, but there are other actors in this. There is of course
Anant Mahadevan sir,
Anant Mahadevan,
Vikram Gokhale sir,
Vikram Gokhale, Pavel.
Pavel,
There's a lot of fine actors, and what was it like to actually shoot this show? I know that a lot of you don't even. I mean, a lot of your characters don't even actually come. Like for example, I know Madhurima and Major Tango. I mean, I know Namrata Joshi, the character that you play, and Major Tango don't meet until the last scene, for example. I mean,
she went to meet my mother.
I met your mother. Yes.
Correct.
In part two, there'll be something then.
There'll be more.
Yeah. Getting married.
What was it like making this show?
Neeraj sir.
So I wasn't part of the action.
That's right.
The grandeur of the show. I wasn't part of that exactly. I was more inside the corridors of the PMO, inside that vast architecture that almost engulfed.
You get as far as the minister's car and the bar.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're bang on.
and being invited for drives.
That's right. Darshan and Amit, I have to ask you all what it was like shooting those surgical strike portions. I mean, that's the real action. What was that like?
We can't say ditto on this.
Correct. Yeah.
Can't.
You have to have your own answer. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll start talking. Darshan, butt in whenever. Let's do this together. Then me staying for 10 minutes and then you, because then it won't be fun.
Yeah.
So let's like overlap this and how we've done in how we perform together like brothers. So let's do this like brothers.
Yes.
So I'll start and you just button wherever. So it was fun. We took it as a challenge. Darshan is like a commando himself. He's like off the camera also. He's all heart and he's all full enthusiasm. So our spirits were very high, but we were combating high altitude, up and down, doing shots 10 times. 5 degrees, 6 degrees in the evening where the weapon would get cold. And as soon as, exactly. And, but we took a challenge. We had to wake up at 3, come on literally on some road, change, put grease on our face, get the weapon, trek up for 40 minutes, wait for the sunrise to come, and after giving, not even sunrise race to come. Right. And then after, if we give 2-3 good shots, we would get breakfast or, otherwise we keep shooting. So it was crazy. I mean, the emotions were very high. I almost headbutted few guys for throwing the weapon and disrespecting the gear. But it was all, I mean, we were a band of brothers.
Right.
Yes.
Darshan, kuch to bol.
Mostly you cover everything. But I want to add that one incident, like, I remember हमारे director साहब उन्होंने कहा कि आपको इस पहाड़ पे चढ़ना है और सबसे पहले मेरी और अमित की आवाज आ रही थी yes sir we are ready क्योंकि सबको एक जोश मिलता था. उसके बाद हमने हाइट देखी पहाड़ की दोनों ने और we were like okay let's start it. और जो हमने वो चढ़ना स्टार्ट किया ऐसा लग रहा था सर जैसे अभी फेफड़े फट के हाथ में आ जाएंगे. लेकिन फिर मैं और अमित को हमसे आवाज नहीं निकल रही है, कुछ डायलॉग मुंह से निकल नहीं रहा है और मैं अमित को बोल रहा हूँ यार कैमरे को हम दिख रहे होंगे क्या अभी इतनी हाइट पे आ गए. तो हमारे पास वॉकी टॉकी था, उसमें आवाज आती है हमारे डायरेक्टर साहब की ड्रोन आपको चेस कर रहा है दौड़ो और दौड़ो लेवल पे पहुंचे इसके आगे नहीं जा सकते. तो वो कहते हैं उतरना स्टार्ट करो. मैं कहा सर उतर नहीं सकते एकदम डीप है. दैट वाज द कंडीशन सर. So it was amazing.
I have to say, I learned so much more about the operation that I already knew than I thought I knew. And I thought that was very interesting about it because I went in saying, oh, I know this story. And I came out with a lot more information that I didn't know. So thank you for that. And of course, I mean, I know that that's because it's based on, on a chapter in a book that's written by journalists who met the real Major Mike Tango and interviewed him over several sessions. So I know it comes from a place of actual, of fact, and him sort of telling what actually happened. But many congratulations. This is, it really is. It's a very interesting show, and I think it sort of, the perspective that it gives you, the 360-degree perspective, kind of, placing all things into context and seeing what happened that led up to those moments.
Yeah.
I think that was very interesting. But congratulations, it's a great cast, and I hope that the show is very successful. Of course, all 9 episodes of Avrodh, The Siege Within, will be streaming on Sony Live from the 31st of July. Congratulations. And can't wait to see what each of you do next. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank
Rajeev
you.
sir.
Thank you so much.
Before we
Thank
go,
you.
I just want to say thank you again
Thank
for having us. And another thing of which I want to say a big thank you is for dissecting Avrodh for us and actually improving our perspective as well. And the way you've kind of done this, orchestrated this, I'm saying a big thank you, because I think when the viewers will see this, they'll hear this, they'll be in a better tunnel, better to kind of engage with Avrodh, and I'm very grateful to you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you
so
so
And
much,
if you
sir.
see,
Thank
and if
you,
you see
sir.
my next few interviews repeating your lines, you can imagine, you can think that you've tutored me well.
I'm happy to have helped. Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Neeraj
sir.
sir,
Thank you so
Darshan,
much.
Madhurima, see you.
Bye.
See you.